y'all. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. Hey, let's get right into it. We're going to talk a little boxing. So, y'all know what time it is. Nobody's in a rush to get concussed. You have to say that right up front so everybody understand what we're talking about when we're talking about boxing. All right? Not just talking about knockouts, we're talking about boxing. But right now, I want to get straight into it. Um, a boxer that I think we should always talk about, that we should respect more than we do, and that's Deontay Wilder. Right? Most of the time, when I see watch uploaders, look at videos, comments, things of that nature, I don't feel he's getting the respect he deserves. You always hear about him going to be soon to be exposed and the things he can't do. He's got those skinny legs, or he backs up with his chin in the air, or he can't jab. He doesn't use his jab enough, and he's chinny. He probably doesn't have a chin. And I'm thinking, well, what do you guys? I mean, I understand, but what part of I'm just learning you don't understand? Dude's been fighting about 10 years. Guy started at 19 years old, right? He didn't start young, so his muscle memory is not where it should be. So he's learning, but on the job, while he's learning, he's getting plenty of ass. You know, he's doing a lot of things that I think should be looked upon as something great. Me personally, I think he's what he's doing so far is nothing less than incredible. I think what we're seeing is something really incredible. I think you could even make a movie of it right now, right? And right now, I'm not gonna say what date it is, but right now he has the WBC belt, right? They're not just giving this belt to people, So he's got the WBC belt. This is a very important belt. Let's not try to act like, there's um, the top three WBC, uh, IBF, WBA, and then fourth you would say WBO. We're not going to really give too much credit to the IBO, not yet. Hang around a bit, then maybe. But those are the top three or four with WBO, and he has one of them. Legendary belt, right? Traditional belt. So to come and get that with 10 years of boxing is phenomenal, right? But we are sitting back waiting for him to get exposed and who's going to beat him and what kind of fight is going to beat him. And we act like all these fighters came and they just laid down and was in a rush to get concussed, but they weren't, right? And I just think that the things they've done are just nothing less than phenomenal. Look at when the guy started. He started in 2005, right? Just walks in the gym at 19 years old, driving beer, right? Was his job a beer truck driver? And he goes and that's in 2005, and his daughter's sick. Finds out she's sick, and what does he do? This is a story, this backstory right here. It's incredible. This is something you could do at the beginning of a movie. Just check, follow me here. You 19-year-old boy, and you're driving your beer through around, right? And you're an athlete. You find out, hey, look, my daughter's sick. I need some money right now. And you just walk into a box gym, and that's 2005. 2 years later, you're fighting for the Golden Gloves, and believe it or not, you win the Golden Gloves. All right. And same year, you're the national champ, the U.S. national champ, with about 18 months of boxing training. That's it. You go up here, have these upsets. You upset these people, and you become a member of the Olympic team in 2 years of boxing. Damn it, that's a movie already. That's the beginning of a movie. That's the first 50 minutes to the movie right there. You understand? So I don't understand how that alone is something, right? But then you make the Olympic team, right? And what do? You go and you get a bronze medal in the heavyweight division, which is not easy because the dude didn't weigh but about 208, 210 pounds. Very thin built, right? And by the way, we wonder why he keeps breaking his hands. Probably because he's hitting these big old dudes on the head. He's going to probably have a problem with that. But we'll get to that. The point is, he makes the Olympic team. He's the only guy in the whole Olympic team that medals, right? Isn't that something? All these other guys who were boxing earlier than him, this guy just starts and medals, right? Okay, so, boom. What do? He turns pro. And he wins those first fights, of course. He's fighting nobodies. Of course, he's fighting nobodies. He's still learning. He has no muscle memory. All he has is a work ethic and a right hand and athleticism, and we're going from there. You know, so he uses that, and he's going up against guys. He's lighter than these guys, but he's handling everybody. Because there's no good talent there, but they putting people in front of him, and he's knocking them down, right? So I think his first 16, 17 fights all easy, all things he should have won. I'm not gonna never say that's not the truth, but it's not like you should have knocked everybody out and convincingly. So a couple of those guys wasn't coming there to lay down, you know. But I think he's stepped up his competition around that 20th fight, right? Something like that, around that area. I know his 23rd fight he fought a dude named Manziel or whatever. And this guy had only lost 5 fights. He was also a good prospect himself, right? He was 20-5, I think it was. So that's about the 23rd fight is when you start fighting guys like that. They coming in there, to get you. But he took care of him. He took care of him. And I think around his 26th fight, he fought a guy called Kelvin Price. And Price was undefeated at the time. I think he was 13-0, right? And this guy was also about 6'6", chiseled, and was coming to win. He took care of him pretty well too. Knocked him out with one punch. So what I'm saying about Wilder is he also possesses this one punch knockout power. But at the time, you would always see in the interviews, he was working on that jab, working on that jab, working on his footwork. And I think he's done those kind of things. He's really worked on those things. And he's gotten better through the time, after beating Audrey Harrison, sometimes we look at Audrey Harrison and we like, well, he's whack. David Haye did what David Haye did to him. Look what David Price did to him. But hey, look, the things that Harrison is, he was a gold medalist. And I'm gonna say something too. For those who think he was so whack, then when you want to see him fight people that are gatekeepers, then watch the prize fighting. I saw a couple of rounds of that. He was just dominating prize fighting. So there is levels to this. So even in Deontay's 20-something fight, 25th, 28th, something like that, he's fought Harrison to beat him in round 1 or round 2, I think it was. Also shows that he's on a certain level. Now, here's our problem. We'll start comparing him to the greats already. Hey, man, the dude hasn't fought long enough. He hasn't fought long enough. But what he's doing is he's handling his business on the way up, learning on the job. But while I'm learning, I'm knocking people out, right? We keep saying he's chinny. And I'm like, well, I've seen him get hit a few times, And everybody he's fought is nobody. Audrey Harrison was nothing. This Miraculous, who was a WBO champ, right? They didn't give him that's that 4th belt I was telling you about. All right, they didn't give him that title. He won that. They don't just give him on the street. If you become a champion, that means that hey, at bare minimum, I'm the baddest in your state, or I'm the baddest in your state. In some cases, country. You know, I'm a bad dude. There's not a lot of people beating somebody up who's got a championship belt, one of the top 4. That means he's at least one of the top 10 guys in the world at that particular time. Now, Sergey Lakovich was past his prime at the time. So I think he was 35 years old, if not 37. But you still have an amount of skills. And anybody that don't know what happened in that fight, of course, he got knocked out. But look at how. And then, compare that to the rest of the people. Sergey Lakovich fought. And see if that happened to him. So that was pretty impressive. I mean, scary to watch the guy, having convulsions and stuff. But it's the power of this kid, right? This guy, man, knocking people out. And when he gets you in trouble, you in trouble. He's not going to let you off the hook, you know. He goes on to fight Further, who we should have beat, who gave him some problems. Further came to fight, but he got Further out of there in the 4th round. He stopped on his stool. Then he went on to fight Malik Scott. And the thing about Malik Scott is it looked funny. I think it was a left hook that got around, hit him on the temple, right? And then the right barely grazed him through the gloves. It looked funny. These boys are boys. Him and Malik Scott, are friends, well documented. But did Malik Scott lay down for him? Who knows? I don't think somebody friends is one thing. That's one thing, but I don't know if you're gonna put a dent in your career, especially boxing, because when you lose, we talked about that already. When you lose, it's like the end of the world. Saying you lose your stock. And Malik Scott, because of this, has lost his stock. Because I think Malik Scott, if you hear boxers talk about it, they seem to all agree that this is one of the most talented boxers out there. When you're talking about complete, we know Malik Scott doesn't carry a big punch. I think he's had over 30 fights, he's had over 13 knockouts. But we do know that he's skilled. He's very skilled, and I think he got clipped early, But people who think that he laid down, I will not hate on them because that's how it looks. If you don't know what a shot on the temple does to you, if you never had experienced it, then you don't know Then we don't really know. I've never had it happen to me, so I won't know. But I do think that Deontay packs a wallop, right? People are not falling for nothing, right? So, but Malik Scott, have you seen anybody else do things to do that to him? Right? That Chisora thing, Malik Scott was whooping Chisora's ass, right? And I think he got up by 9. You shouldn't, and when you go to someone else's country, he was in England, get up a little earlier, right? Because they called that one off because Chisora's ass was getting beat, right? Some of these fights get called off, and we know that. You're a boxer. Look at Lennox Lewis against Oliver McCall. I'm still pissed at that. I think Lennox was a champion at the time. He getting up with both hands in front of his face, holding his hands up, and his right leg is, hey, it's a little bit doing a little dance on there. Why wouldn't he? Just got hit by Oliver fucking McCall. So, but I think a heavyweight champion should have the benefit of the doubt. He should have been able to continue at least to see if he can weather that storm. Didn't happen. That's the same thing. Malik Scott, he was up. I think he could have continued. I think he could have weathered that storm and outboxed Chisora for the rest of that fight, but it's not what happened. My point, though, about Malik Scott is ain't nobody else beating him, right? Ain't nobody else beat him up like that. Like Deontay did. Bam, one shot, get up out of here. It's probably better that way. So I'm just saying that was a big win, no matter how we look at it. So you get to the point where you come to a heavyweight title, right? You fight in a heavyweight title match. You come in a heavyweight title match against a guy who basically is full of confidence in Bermain Stavern. Because Stavern, I think they pretty much keep this PG-3, but they didn't do him right. Let's say it like that with the Chris Arreola situation. He had already beat Arreola, knocked him out, and he was forced to fight him again for the belt with WBC when it got vacant or something like that, and he had to fight it again. I think they should have just gave it to him. That's how I thought at the time. But okay, he had to fight Arreola again. And, we in America, we was trying to give Arreola the championship, trying to give him. He's had all the chances in the world, and I like some Arreola because he's real. But Bermain Stavern comes in there and does it again. So he's riding the wave coming in here against Deontay Wilder. He has no fear of him at all and no respect of his talents, because when you're a boxer and you're boxing every day, you see the loopholes. And which obviously there should be loopholes when somebody's learning something. But okay, Deontay Wilder comes in there, handles his business, has him down in the first round or second round where the guy has to tackle him. This doesn't happen to Bermain Stavern. It's only happened one time before, right? And that knockout was, from what I've been told, I haven't seen it recently. I don't remember, but I do know that he was up. He was ready to fight in that one fight. Somebody had him down early in his career, right? So other than that, he hadn't been down. So what happens? He's down, right? And he loses a unanimous decision. Wasn't a close fight, right? And Deontay wins this fight, and his hand was broke since the 4th round. You fight 8 rounds against a world-class guy. Win the championship against a world-class guy. And we are sitting here talking about who he should fight. He not going to beat Povetkin. He not going to beat Klitschko. He not going to beat Fury. And all this who he's not going to beat, instead of what he just accomplished, which was something magnanimous. Okay? And this is what this video is all about. It's about giving the man props for what he has already done. If we were doing a movie, damn it, the movie could be over at that point. Right? The rest of that, you know how the credits roll, and you just hear the, before the credits roll, you see what else happened in his life, but the movie was over, right? We could be after that. After that, he went on to get clipped, uh, trying to unify the division against Vladimir Klitschko, or Tyson Fury beats him on points after that. So what? The movie was over after him winning the WBC championship with a broken hand. And that's the only guy who hasn't been knocked out up until that point. Now that, for me, is something worthy of a lot of praise, a lot of props, whatever you call them. And that's what he's getting from me, period. I don't care what he does um, what he does the rest of his career. I don't care. If he does some more things, great. Does he have to unify and to be one of the legends? Of course he does. Is his journey over? Of course it's not. Is he going to get clipped one day? Of course he is. This is the heavyweight division. My main man, Lennox Lewis, got clipped. All right? So it's going to happen. It happens to all of them. But I'm saying up to what he's done now, we have to, it's awesome. And we need to stop saying who he needs to fight. Because a lot of times these guys, while he needs to fight them, something happens to him before. You know what I'm saying? And every time he fights somebody, we call people bums. We call people in the top 20 bums. We call the top 30 heavyweights. Somebody in the top 30, he's a bum. But what does the top 30 mean? The top 30 means you probably one of the baddest dudes on the planet. Because you're a heavyweight and you're in the top 30. You're the baddest in your neighborhood, your state, and in most cases even your country. That's what top 30 mean. But they're bums. Because we call everybody that's not elite a bum. I've seen people do it. And here's an example. When you're talking about Deontay Wilder. Before Deontay Wilder fought Eric Molina, right? Eric Molina's claim to fame was having Chris Arreola down, and then Chris Arreola knocks him out in round one. So he was a bum. I've heard it, right? What happens? That gives Deontay Wilder a good fight, and Deontay Wilder is criticized for not taking him out earlier. Instead of, hey, Molina has balls, and he's not somebody you be playing around with. And Molina, when you hear him talking, he has a damn good point when he says everybody he's been in the ring with, he's hurt. And that's a damn good point. Wilder included. For the people who thinks he's chinny, he took it, handled his business, and got rid of Molina. Right? What Molina? Now all of a sudden Molina is a credible opponent because he went to Poland and knocked Thomas and Adamek out. Now, people are going to say, well, Adamek was on the downside and retired afterwards. Yes, but Adamek is still Adamek. Those skills that he had or that he has are not unprecedented, but what I'm saying is you can't deny that he has these skills. If he was cruiserweight, he'd probably still be down there dominating. But heavyweight, you might want to bring a little power up with you. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I think that was his downfall. It was never the skills with Tommy Adamek. We know he's skillful. So he goes and knocks him out. Now all of a sudden he's a credible opponent, right? We don't talk about him like a bum, but he's more than a gatekeeper now. A little bit more. He's credible. Fringe contender, a little bit more than that too, I would say, right? Because the man has given, he's going to give these good fights. The same with Duhapis. People couldn't pronounce his name, because it could be Duhapis, it could be Duhapa, or Duapa. Those are the three ways I've heard it being pronounced correctly. But I've heard all kind of things. People won't even take the time to learn his name. Okay, cool. But just because we don't know somebody doesn't mean they don't have a story. Doesn't mean that there's something. They whooped ass to get to that point. And Duhapis has proved that. He took Deontay real deep into the fight, taking punches. That's what his thing is. He's durable. He's able to take punches, give his little bit. Doesn't have that much power, but he's able to endure what you got. And when you finish, then he's gonna handle your ass. As Robert Helenius, who was undefeated. Duhapis went out there in Finland, where he's from, the Dark Destroyer, and destroyed him. Okay? So now he's a viable opponent. I see people putting his name in their mouth now. But both of them have losses to Deontay Wilder. You understand? So, and here's another thing about heavyweights that we seem to always see. Deontay doesn't have a problem with saying he wants to unify. He wants to fight whoever. He wasn't shying away from fighting Tyson Fury after he beat Klitschko. He wasn't shying away from fighting Tyson Fury before he fought Klitschko. He wasn't shying away from fighting Klitschko, right? Before he lost. So I don't think that there is anything negative really to say about the guy. Okay? And I'm going to say one more thing. Right around his 23rd and 20 to 28th fight, right around there, when he started getting on everybody's radar, and he's like, people keep coming at him talking about who he hasn't fought, and he needs to get somebody on his resume. One, I think they did the right thing by taking their time with his opposition. The man was learning. Obviously, just started fighting. You don't put them in with people that are very, very skillful at that point. Let him learn. That's what I think that was correct. But at a certain point, if you were, before I say this, man, I always got to say this. Put on your empathy cap. I'll give you a second. Put on your empathy cap. Now that you got it on, if you were a top 10 fighter, let's say from number 4 to 10, right? And you heard of Deontay Wilder, a 6'7" dude with no fat on him, a work ethic, a right hand, athleticism, and has knocked out everybody. Are you going to fight him for $50,000? Or are you going to wait till you get 500,000 or more? I'm just putting these numbers out here, and I'm being generous. I know damn well what I'm really talking about. It's about 2, 3, 4 million is what somebody going to want to fight somebody like that for no reward. So at that point, I would say he was being ducked. Ain't nobody in the top 10 was going to try to fight him at that point until they have to. And I think, if I can remember correctly, even after sparring, Vladimir said something to that point of, hey, I'm not fighting this dude until he becomes a mandatory. That's high praise, guys, right? That's high praise because they know of his work ethic. And the guys that are going to excel in the sport are guys that are going to have discipline and work ethic. Vladimir Klitschko, uh, Mayweather, those kind of guys. They're not going to be getting fat between fights. And that discipline is what you're going to need. And he has that, right? He has that. And the fight, people that fight, the fighters, they know. They know what time it is. We be talking stuff up here, uploading videos and talking this stuff like they're PlayStation, characters, But these are fighters. And if you don't put in the work, you're going to definitely get the hurt. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to put in the work, right? Some people have given God-given talent. Like Deontay, I think it was his power, his athleticism. And I think George Foreman said it right. George Foreman just said recently, he just said, hey, in my prime, I wouldn't be in a rush to fight Deontay Wilder. He said because he's reckless. And I think the fact, he's going to get clipped being reckless. Now, let's don't get it twisted. This is boxing. He is going to get clipped being reckless. But you people who say that you like knockouts, you say that you like action, then damn it, that should be your guy. And I'll finish it by saying this. If you like Gennady Golovkin because of knockouts, then you're going to have to like Deontay Wilder. I don't see there's no difference there, right? Not even with the level of competition. So you need to be liking both of them, right? I don't want to see somebody liking Gennady Golovkin but not liking Deontay Wilder, because it just doesn't make any sense because you're a knockout fan. And if you're a knockout fan of someone that's doing it in the middleweight division, then you probably should be a knockout fan of somebody who's doing it in the glamour division. Okay? So let's stop this distance from this guy. This guy deserves a movie right now before he fights anybody else, as far as I'm concerned. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to give props where props deserved, and Deontay Wilder deserves props now. I don't give a shit about what he does after this point. If it's more, then it's more. But as of right now, we can make a movie about the guy, and it'll be a damn good one. Shit, look at Creed. Creed didn't even win at the end. All right? All right, y'all. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide, and we out.